Meeting to order. If everybody please stand and especially for any other one. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First order of business. We're going to deviate from the regular agenda for a few minutes. We've got a couple of words we want to hand out. So those gentlemen do not have to stay if they do not like.
Roger? Yep. Front and center, please. On behalf of the town, sir, we would like to recognize you for your 15 years of wonderful service. Presented to Roger Breeding for 15 years of outstanding town of Greenwood. And ever since I've seen this, it's the first time he's ever held my hand for a long time.
Next order is for Mr. Kevin Ekman.
Eichmann.
On behalf of the town council and the residents of Greenwood, we want to offer you this plaque, token of our appreciation for all your hard work, because I hear there's good news coming. During that time when there was no chief, there was just you and Billy. You guys did a lot to get here to where we're at now, and just a little token of our appreciation and thank you for all your hard work. And if you ever need something from me, just give me a holler and I'll be right here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. If you guys want to leave, you can. You don't have to sit here. First order of business. Approval of the town council minutes from June 8th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections?
January 8th.
January 8th.
So moved for approval. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Talent?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan? Motion carried. Next one, the executive session minutes from August 27th, 2024. Is there any additions or corrections? Motion by Mr. Donovan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Talent. All those in favor? Ms. Jones?
I recuse myself.
Ms. Talent?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan? Yes. I vote yes. Motion carried. Next order of business. The swearing in of the two new elected councilmen with Mr. Massey and Mr. Cessna, please come forward.
I'm going to give you a first time.
Please raise your right hand. This is Donald Trump. And repeat after me. I, Anthony Massey,
I, Anthony Massey,
do swear and affirm
swear and affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially carry out
and impartially carry out
with fidelity
with fidelity
the duties of the office of the town council person
the duties of the office of the town council person
of the town of Greenwood.
of the town of Greenwood.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Anybody got food?
Time to have one.
Sign that for me.
I was told I would need one at some point. There you go, sir.
Oh, you come back.
Hold on to it.
I, Brandon Cessna,
I, Brandon Cessna,
do swear and affirm
do swear and affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially carry out with fidelity
and impartially carry out with fidelity
the duties of the office of the town council person
the duty of the office of the town council person
of the town of Greenwood.
of the town of Greenwood.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, these seats are yours. It's been a nice seeing y'all for 6 years. I'll be around.
Thanks for your service. Thank you very much.
Are you doing it?
Yep,
Yep.
nominations are now open for the position of mayor.
I make a motion that Brandon Seston be mayor.
Second.
Are there any other nominations for mayor? Any other nominations for mayor? Being none, all in favor of Mr. Cessna?
Aye.
Wait a minute. Dee?
Aye.
Brenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And you get to vote too.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Okay, nominations are now open for vice mayor.
Make a motion that Anthony Massey be vice mayor.
Is there any other nominations for vice mayor? Any other nominations for vice mayor? Being none, all in favor of Mr. Massey? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Pallett?
Yes.
Mr. Sussman?
Yes.
Mr. Anthony?
Yes.
Okay, nominations are open for secretary. Are there any
nominate
nominations for
Donnie
secretary? Donnie Donovan respectfully declines. Any other nominations?
Well, Mr. Donovan declines, so I would nominate Ms. D. Jones.
D. Jones, any other nominations for secretary? Any other nominations for secretary? Being none, all in favor? Ms. Jones?
Of course.
Brenda?
Yes.
I didn't say that.
Yes.
Yes.
AJ, okay, unanimous. These, ladies and gentlemen, are your officers for 2025. And I'm sure you all do a fantastic job.
Well, if I need you, I'm definitely going to ask you this.
You know where I live. Got my number, unfortunately. Mr. Mayor?
All right, you're up.
Okay, so we're going to the public comment right now. First, I want to state, we wanted to move a little bit of things. The public comment, we decided we wanted to move to the beginning so everybody can decide and speak their mind before any of us council members get to vote. That way we get to hear what you guys have to say before we make any vote and any decisions. That way we can hear what the town has to say before we make a decision. That's one of the points of the agenda that I wanted to make clear, because we can't make a correct decision without hearing what the people have to say. I also want to make note that the agenda is appointed for you guys to see 7 days in advance of this meeting. These meetings will go a lot more quicker if you can reach out to us ahead of the actual meeting itself. That gives us all time to base our decisions off of what the community has to say. That's one of the big things that I wanted to put in place here. When we were public,
Mr. Mayor, point of order,
yes, sir.
reading of correspondence.
Okay. So, reading of the public correspondence.
Does he have something for you?
I don't have any.
Yeah, you have it?
No, that's just if you guys got any letters or anything that you want to read.
Yeah. Anybody have any public correspondence?
No.
No. So we will now move to the public comments. Does anybody here have anything to say?
I do.
Okay.
That's the
You got
statement.
state your name.
Holly Lorenziello at 201 Mill Street. All I want to say, and I didn't even read over the agenda, I wanted to know if you guys were going to readdress the taxes since the property values went up. And if we're paying that much in taxes on the new assessments, it's super duper high. That's all.
That's up to council. If they want to readdress it, I'm thinking something. we can-
Actually, I would like to readdress it as well, but it's not gonna be something I don't feel we'll be able to do this evening. 'Cause it's not-
Well, no, I mean, I totally understand that, but I don't feel
Okay.
like we should wait till the last
I feel
minute
like-
to sit here and scramble around.
No, I feel like that's gonna be something probably, I would hope you could probably schedule in March, April, if everybody here's up, all right with it. You know what I mean? We can take a look at it, maybe workshop it and see where we're actually at with the numbers, like have some legitimate numbers in front of us so we know what we're gonna do, instead of just shooting off in the dark. Because we had to raise the taxes for a reason.
Yes,
and
but
we
I
do-
don't know
and-
what your property taxes went from, but my value went from 19,000 to over 200,000.
Oh, yeah, no, that's.
So that's gonna be like over a $2,000, tax bill. We don't live in Rehoboth Beach or Lewis,
Right,
and theirs are not even that high. Everyone's at like a 1%,
okay.
if you look across Sussex County.
So we could try, I would think probably in March, April, we'll get some numbers together and see what the county's new assessed values are versus what we have now, and just kind of figure it out. Well, I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do something. We could leave, it's worth discussing at least. So,
I mean,
you're right,
that's-
no, they went through the roof,
Yeah.
so.
I believe we're all in agreement. Do you have anything to say?
We can look at it.
You know what it is. Brenda?
Yes.
Yes. Donnie?
We looked at it several times, but I'm all day looking at it again.
Yeah, we
Get
have.
ready to build a new house, yeah, let's look at it.
Right. That's definitely something I'd
It's probably 50 cents on the $100.
It's on the new assessments, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
May I suggest that, Shannon, we have the budget, so they can look at it and see what, as well as the paper that we had, if we increase by X number of dollars, what it would do for us.
And would you like to do this at a council meeting or would you like a workshop?
I would put a workshop.
Like a workshop.
Workshop.
That way, everybody can, if we have to do it at the VFW, so more townspeople can come, and so be it, everybody can see
More community
where we're
involved.
at and what we're doing,
Yes.
so.
Any other comments? Going once? Going twice? No, okay. Next, we're gonna move on to the police report. Chief?
Good evening and congratulations, new members. Look forward to working with you both. You should have my written report submitted. As far as the verbal report, I'm sure everybody knows our new hire, the town of Greenwood and the Greenwood Police Department would like to welcome aboard Corporal Tucker. Corporal Tucker was sworn in by Vice Mayor Mike Moran on January 20th. Corporal Tucker is now completing her field training with Lieutenant Thomas as per post requirements. So if you see her out and about, wave and make yourselves, welcome her aboard, please. The big hot topic, what we've worked so diligently and hard for over the past month. since my date of hire, we knew this was coming, was our reaccreditation update. On January 30th, representatives from DPAC and Post, including 3 assessors, completed a rigorous and in-depth on-site visit of the Greenwood Police Department. After a full day of review, the assessors advised the department we would be recommended for reaccreditation. The next DPAC meeting is in April, and the department will await approval from the commission. So we've got the go-ahead that says, yes, we did everything they've asked us to do, and we have come in full compliance. We just have to wait for the commission to make a final ruling on it. So all our hard work has paid off. This was no easy task, and officers had to get updated training. Policies had to be reviewed and revised and had to be recompleted. We had to complete ever-changing standards to be met to ensure that we were in compliance. I just wanted to be known that Lieutenant Thomas should be recognized for his hard work and dedication during this process. The department would not be in the position it is now if it weren't for his efforts. And of course, Kev got his award tonight for all his assistance and help in keeping us in order and keeping us sane over there during the past 30 days.
I just kept the lieutenant from bouncing off.
That's it. It was a very rigorous thing to get done. It was very time consuming, so I appreciate the public's patience with us while we were kind of stuck in behind closed doors, ensuring that we got through this obstacle to ensure we were in compliance. Our PAC meeting we had on January 27th. We held our first PAC meeting. Committee members were introduced and reviewed the initial orientation by Post Director Sean Moriarty. Corporal Tucker is currently planning a PAC Citizens Police Academy with an anticipated start date in April to ensure that the committee members receive their 20 hours of training. Currently, our biggest goal right now is the PD will begin a review of town ordinances to coincide with the codification of our code. I'll be working closely with Town Manager Todd to complete this task. We'll be reaching out and networking with Delgis and things of that nature to get some of our town ordinances enforceable, if you will. So, that's the only thing we got going on. If you guys have any questions for me, I can try to answer them the best I can.
What's the new law with the police that we need to do a new building for the town hall? Can you explain?
We'll get to that.
Okay. I'm on it, so
We can touch on it
I'm
then.
in.
You're okay.
Okay, I can, Don, no questions? Okay. We'd like to report from the town manager.
All right, this month we're going to try something different. We have a PowerPoint shown in 2 different spots here, so hopefully everybody can see it. First slide, of course, welcome to the new council members, Brandon and Anthony Massey, and a big thank you to Mr. Moran. He did a great job when he stepped up, and we appreciate all he did. The next thing, just because we have 2 new council members, we're just going to go over a few policies and procedures just so they kind of know what's going on here. The first is, every meeting we have to do a notice of an agenda. It has to be posted at least 7 days or more ahead of the meeting. List of the agenda items, the dates, the time, the place of the meeting, and if there are items that are not on the agenda, they cannot be discussed or voted on. The open meeting policy, all meetings are open to the public with the exception of executive session, and all meetings are required by law to have a public comment period. Executive session rules. There are rules to an executive session. The agenda must be properly noticed. You can't just put executive session on an agenda in the case you may need it unless it's properly noticed as to the topic. There should be no other things talked about in executive session other than what is noticed on the agenda. No votes may be taken in executive session. All votes must be in the public, and minutes are required by either staff member or member of a council if staff is not present. This is just a few of the most commonly used topics for executive session. Legal advice for collective bargaining, pending or potential litigation, the hearing of employee disciplinary or dismissal unless the employee requests a public hearing, and personnel matters. If they request it to be in public, it needs to be in public or it's a FOIA violation. public policy of FOIA. FOIA is something you'll get to be very familiar with. Mr. Massey's very familiar with it. It is the Freedom of Information Act, and it permits the public to view public records, to observe the performance of public officials, and monitor the decisions that are made by the officials. There's a FOIA request form on the town website, which can be filled out to request documents. The town has 15 business days to respond and either provide the documents or notify the requester that the documents are not available. A public body does not have to create new reports or records in order to respond to a FOIA request. Enforcement. The Attorney General's office enforces FOIA and decides if there's a FOIA complaint or if there's been a violation. So all of those go through the Attorney General's office. Officials are also monitored by Public Integrity Commission. There is a website that people can go to check, what the rules and regulations are there. And I know I'm going fast, but you guys will get a copy of this.
We lost a monitor, Ms. Todd.
Oh, no. We still have it to you. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
The main purpose of the Public Integrity Commission is to ensure specific standards of conduct. So again, they don't come in and watch everybody, but people can make complaints if they choose to do so, and then they'll investigate. There you go. Hold on. Take a breather on it. Bless you. Bless you. Okay. Well, we've lost it, so we'll just keep going. A town council's duties. There we go. Okay, anyway. The roles and duties, the public official, just so you know, you can be sued for violating someone's constitutional rights under the First Amendment, which protects freedom of speech, religion, press, and the right to peacefully assemble and petition the government. It prevents the government from interfering with these rights, so you can be sued. Then, this one's important, so let me just get it back up here. Okay, well, it's not going to come back up. Okay. The town council is an elected body made up of 5 members. One is the mayor, a vice mayor, a secretary, and 2 members at large. In order to do business, you need a quorum, which is 3 sworn members. Any action requires affirmative vote of the majority of the quorum present. The council is responsible for legislative function and policy, adopting ordinances, and voting on budget and expenditures. The duties of the town manager are overseeing daily operations, handling HR issues, responding to citizens' concerns, implementing policies and procedures, and developing the budget along with the police department, advising the council, consult with the town solicitor when necessary, and applying for grants. There, of course, are many other duties, but the town manager does not oversee any sworn police officers. That is solely the duty of the chief of police and any supervising officer. As I mentioned before, there are 3 main things the council does as far as governing documents, which are the charter, ordinances, and budget. The town manager and chief of police handle day-to-day. It's not required to report to council each week or routinely all things that happen in day-to-day operations, because that can open the town to a FOIA violation, and it would be nearly impossible because a lot of things happen in here day-to-day. All right. I don't know what it's called. Okay. What do you say? Okay. The key issues that are important in the government and municipalities are employees and chain of commands. Constituent concerns should be directed to the town staff and follow FOIA. We understand residents come to council members with concerns, but they should be referred to come to town hall so that we can get the reply with facts and eliminate too many people getting involved so that things get lost in translation. Also, the benefit when they come to town hall, we can document everything. As for FOIA issues, they come from council business conducted outside the council room, which is prohibited. You must use your own town emails to conduct town business. You cannot email each other to discuss a topic that should be discussed in a meeting. There are ethics and responsibilities of the office, including you cannot assist private parties in advocating for the town. If you're affiliated with an interested party where there could be an appearance of impropriety, you should recuse yourself, but that's a decision you have to make. You cannot be forced to recuse yourself. Conduct all business publicly unless in executive session, and don't gather in a quorum of 3 or more to discuss town business outside of public meetings. Under public comment, the public has the right to criticize the government as long as they do not show abusive conduct, language, or personal attacks on members, staff, or members of the public. This is up to the mayor to regulate this during meetings. And now I'm going to go into the town manager's report. Carolyn had surgery yesterday. She's going to be out for a few weeks. Dee Jones has been coming in helping answer with phones and just helping with things day to day. A few project updates. Wawa's preparing for demolition soon and should be breaking ground afterwards. Milford Housing has no updates. Bascio Bakery Warehouse is operating on Draper Street with the bakery warehouse, and the Veterans Enhancement Project is on hold while they work on some easements and some property issues. We had contracted with HydroCorps for cross-connection control, which is now required by the state. We had a few issues with them, so all inspections are paused at this time. The first issue was they did some inspections, and they did low-hazard businesses only, and they failed them. They never opened any of the meter pits, and there are cross-connection valves in all the pits. And then we found out the inspector had went to one of the businesses and charged them to install a valve, not only with their business license, but he failed them, and then he fixed it, and then he passed them. So there's some things we have to resolve with that. The comprehensive plan. The state requires all municipalities to have a comprehensive plan. They have to be updated every 5 years. We've been working on some updates to ours over the last few months. You might remember at the VFW a few months ago, Dorothy Morris came, and we were working on amendments, and we're still working on maps. So all of that's been in the works. Right now we're working on fixing our future land use map. So that's where we are on that. Several events for this year, starting with the Greenwood Market, which will be the 3rd Saturday of each month, May through September, followed by Greenwood Day, September 20th, Christmas Parade, December 12th. We have bands booked for Greenwood Day. The theme for the parade this year is a storybook Christmas, and of course our awesome volunteers are working diligently on that. Greenwood Market's going to be set up at the church across the street. There's not going to be any charge to set up, and it is going to be a farmers and flea market. Homemade, handcrafted, and homegrown is the theme. Now the water tower. We discussed the last couple months we're going to need an additional water tower. Currently we have 250,000 gallons, and we use just over 100,000 a day, Roger? Is that correct? A day. So, and that's just with the current customers we have. So with the additional projects we have, we're going to need a new tower, and it's going to have to be a 500,000 gallon and a pump station. And we want to put it on the east side of town because there's a lot of growth that's going to happen there. The Wawa developer has offered to give us a piece of property to put it on, but obviously it's a huge undertaking. So I'm going to stop here for a second and ask you guys how you would like to proceed with this project. We have to get bids, we have to have the plan engineered, and we have to obviously apply. It's for $4 million. There are no grants for $4 million. It's going to be a loan.
Is there any way we can apply for partial grants to help ease the size of the loan?
We have applied for a grant that will cover the engineering costs, for them to design it and everything.
Okay.
But as of right now, there's no loan that's going to help with the $4 million. And we're going to, obviously, if we can get a piece here and a piece there, but we need to look at the big picture. It's going to be $4 million.
What's the timeline? Like, I know we need it now, but what's a logistical timeline? Like, what are we working with? Do we have a year? Do we have a year and a half? Like, what are we looking at?
I'd say we need to have it within a year.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to talk to some local reps and see if we can get some help, and we're gonna have to try to get some fees together or something. That's a chunk of cash.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think the grant would be the first thing we have to go right on.
Well,
If we can get a partial grant,
Mhm.
partial grants and multiple grants, and then we can determine how much money we're actually trying to come up with.
Right. And the grant for the engineering has already been submitted. We've already asked for that.
$255,000.
Okay, Roger, you're using what you're using today?
110, 120.
So you're using 110,000, so that leaves you over 100-some thousand. So you're almost got, you got double capacity right now, right?
The engineers said for fire suppressor, we don't have enough capacity.
What did they say that the capacity was needed for?
Everyone's recommended 500,000.
Far for what? I mean,
If there's a fire,
To operate the fire hydrant.
They're saying we have enough.
The pumps can't replenish that tank fast enough.
Quickly.
So that's just to keep the whole system charged up.
Yeah.
The pumps are maxed out.
What about replacing the pumps?
We did have Schulte's come in and check their pumps, and they said there's nothing we can do to pump more water with what we've got. We did have them come in and do that.
So is the issue the fire, is it the size of the tank or is it the pump? Or is
It's
it
the
the whole?
size of the tank.
It's the size of the tank, not the pump. That's
Your
your
tank is maxed out at 255,000 gallons, so we're using 100-some thousand gallons a day. So if you have another big fire like the bar comes, those pumps, and we hit those hydrants, you're not gonna keep up, your town's gonna be out of water.
Has the town ever taken out a loan that size before for such a project?
Not since I've been here, I don't know. The loan they are offering is, they say it could be a forgiven loan, but there's no guarantee.
I would have to agree with Charles checking some grants, see what we can scrape together with that first to see if we can eat some of the cost of the loan out, and then we'll have to approach it from there.
I think the biggest thing first is figuring out what we're actually dealing with, money-wise, before we're making any decisions on how we're going to come up with the money that we don't know what we need yet. So, if we can figure out what grants are possible, to figure out what actually, how much money we actually need, I think from there we can establish a plan on what we need to do to get this.
So what is your motion as far as this project?
maybe table.
I would move to table it to the next meeting. That would be the motion. However, Ms. Todd, next meeting, if you could have some figures together as to like some small grants, just something to start eating at it a little bit before we make a full decision on it. Like, it would be nice to have a few of those numbers in front of us for the March meeting. if you
Sure.
don't mind.
Just keep in mind, if we table it, the grant application we already have in, and they're gonna want more and more stuff, so you just want me to stop. Is that,
Well, if that's the case, I'll rescind my motion.
because we've submitted the first round of paperwork, but they're gonna want more.
So how much, so what's it gonna cost us in terms of dollars?
We don't know that yet. We've already applied for a grant to design it.
To go forward, how much is it gonna cost us to go forward?
The grant we've applied for is $60,000.
And that's for the design.
Correct.
So this is just
Okay.
for the grants you're talking about?
Yeah, we can't apply for the next grant until we have a design.
Then I
So-
would make a motion to go ahead and go forward with that, get us the cost, and then we'll move from there.
Correct. If that grant, it doesn't cost the town any money, we already have the grant for it, to get us forward in the progress of moving this, what we need and money-wise forward, I would say, just go with what we have.
So proceed with the design grant and then come back once we have that to see if you want to
Correct.
go
For
for.
more grants to figure out what we
And you
need
said
to
that
do.
was for 60,000, correct?
Correct. All right, next thing, we discussed at the last meeting, we're gonna need a new town hall. The chief is gonna explain to you about the reasoning about the building. There is a grant open now that could fund the entire project if we meet the deadlines. I reached out to the engineer to get a proposal for designing the projects. The police department renovation for this building proposal from the engineer was $17,200, and to design the town hall was $95,800. So obviously that's not in their budget. So I reached out to 3 local builders. They came and we, Billy and Lieutenant Thomas and I had just went online, did a little floor plan thing. They said they would draw it up for free, do all that. But we need to make a decision, the council needs to make a decision if we're going to proceed with this project. The grant is open now. March 10th is the deadline to submit. So now I'll let the chief explain to you about the building.
Well, I mean, this project was started before my hire as chief, but going through the reaccreditation process and moving forward, the department will have to continue to meet these standards, which are only going to grow and become, higher standards to meet. Basically, every time we go to get reaccredited, it's going to be more and more and more standards. To meet the growing demands of the accreditation standards and to remain in compliance, we have to expand. The existing building that houses the PD and the town hall has the bones to furnish the space needed to expand the future needs, to maintain future compliance. After seeing and recognizing the growing needs of the department to meet the compliance, it's of utmost importance that we absorb this entire building. We have to expand our holding area. We have to, meet the standards of having individual holding areas instead of one big holding area. We have to separate sight and sound between juveniles, males, and adults. We need a wellness room. We need larger offices. We need more handling of evidence area. So what we have over there is basically just obsolete at this point. And if we can continue to grow to meet these standards, we're going to have to absorb this entire building. I mean, not to mention alone, the security factors that we have. Access can only be granted to sworn police officers, and we have civilians in here every day. We currently have, our locking system that no civilians can get onto our side of the building. But that in itself also poses an issue because if we have, emergency situations, the only people that can get in there are the sworn police personnel. So this is almost a necessity at this point. We've kind of outgrown what we have over there. And with these, ever evolving and ever raising the bar standards that they keep placing on us to stay in compliance, we're going to have to grow. So if there's questions that I can possibly answer, I'm trying to give you an oversight of what I had to go through for like 2 or 3 hours and commit it. If there's questions that I can answer to give you some clarification, I'll do my best.
So I guess one question I have is, the only way that you were able to even stay accredited is if you were to take this whole town hall.
Right. As we grow and move forward into the accreditation process, we've ran our ride over there. We're going to meet those standards.
If you were not able to do all this, you would no longer be accredited. You would no longer have a police force.
Right. We'd have to get super creative, and we've seen departments do it, but it's just not feasible long term. Putting chain link up in the back.
That's a Band-Aid on a bullet hole.
There you go. And
Right.
Let's stay in front of it instead of trying to plug the hole in the boat.
So what's your timeline that you're working with that this has got to be done by?
So with the reaccreditation process, because we kind of fell behind, typically reaccreditation is every 3 years. I don't want to say we were put on probation. We weren't put on probation. Basically, they're saying every year they're going to come back and check up on us now.
Okay.
Basically, the first year, hey, show us 25% of what we need. Second year, 25% more. That way, at year 3, we're not scrambling to try to meet all the standards and come in compliance like we did this time.
Right.
We're doing a little bit each time, which I'm completely fine with. That makes this whole last 30-day process we just went through not as much of a headache. It's less stressful. We have time to do it over the year, so why not stay on top of it? But yes, this probably needs to happen sooner than later.
And Lieutenant Thomas, I think, correct me if I'm wrong about it, I think he said that it would cost almost twice as much if they tried to do a new police station as it would be just to do a town hall. Am I right?
I don't know dollar-wise, but it would be a
Yeah.
significant, because they need
Yeah,
certain
that's-
doors and certain cameras.
That'd be a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm under the impression it would be a lot cheaper and a lot more feasible to the constituents if we, basically upgraded this for the police department instead of trying to build a brand new police department.
All right. So Ms. Todd, do we have any way of grants or funding for the town hall?
Yes.
Okay.
The grant period is open right now, community reinvestment grant. The deadline to submit is March the 10th. We'd have to have 3 bids and drawings and everything submitted with that grant. And that is a 100% grant if you get it.
So we don't have to pay anything.
No, you wouldn't pay
The
anything.
town hall would just be granted.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
And how many, have we had put anything in yet to submission for the grant? We've already-
No, because at the last council meeting, it wasn't voted to go ahead and proceed, so.
I make a motion to go ahead and proceed with it.
I would second that.
Where are you gonna build?
Oh, it went off again. Back here. It would be a rancher this way.
Okay. You said you had to have 3 bids for the grant.
Mhm. I've met with Mr. Parker from Beta Beach, and I can't think of the other guy, Barrica Homes. I can't think of his name. I think his name's Mike.
So you just got-
We've put it out to another builder, but we haven't got a response yet. But if we're gonna proceed, I have to put it in the paper. There's a process I have to go through. The
Right.
council has to approve to proceed.
Okay. But we do have a lot.
Right back here.
We're good, everything's feasible
Yes.
as far as that goes?
Yes.
Parking and all that will be situated?
Yep,
And we just need to get the submissions in for their approval.
correct. So council needs to decide if they want to proceed with this project.
You got a second, so you got to be approved.
How big is the building gonna be?
We won't know until we get the final drawings.
So let's just make the motion, go ahead and get the process going so we can get the drawing.
So that we can advertise, get the bids, and get the grant in before the deadline.
Okay.
Yeah, second, third.
All right, second, so,
Then you have to,
you gotta ask everybody.
Yes. Look at me like that.
Even though it's a grant, we got our grant, that's still, now you're taking on another building to maintain.
The biggest thing
I'm not against it, I'm just making a point.
the biggest thing that I'm looking at is we have a police force, we don't.
I got that. I
And if we
understand. I
don't get
agree
a
with
town
that.
hall, we don't have a police force.
I get
So
that.
we're kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And if
Yeah.
the police say that this is the best place to make this their police, I mean, that's the decision that we have to make.
And I agree, but we are taking on
Yeah, no, Ms. Brown,
I
you're right.
totally
another
agree.
expense, so, and we're trying to watch the budget with every little thing, so.
No, I understand that as well, but if the grant pays for the whole building, and we get to keep our police force, so they can stay.
At that point, at least we're not needing a new town hall out of town's funds, and the police force stays accredited, and we're just gonna have to figure out how we're gonna maintain this new building.
Right now, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I would make the best decision out of what we got handed to us. Don't look at me like that.
Yes,
Yes. What was that? Yeah, okay.
all right, so we'll go ahead and advertise, we'll get our quotes together and get our bids submitted. All right, next. I'm over that.
Oh, you're up, yeah.
Oh, it's back
Yeah, I
now?
was back. Did you give up on it? I can go.
Okay. Just want to give some history on the audit because we have 2 new council members and I don't know if you've heard about them in the back or in previous meetings. So the town had Lank, Johnson, and Tall for auditors as far back as our computer goes, which is 2006. So I don't know if it was before that or not. I can't verify. In the year 2020, I was out with surgery. The town manager was Mr. Godwin. He was having the audit done for the year 2019. And during that time, one of the auditors logged into the server and deleted several pages of items from QuickBooks. So Mr. Godwin went to council and asked to hire a temporary person to help with the situation, and council approved it. This is, well, you can't see it. Oh, there it is. This is a letter that was submitted to council from the young lady that was hired, stating that the items that were removed were untraceable. She would be assisting in correcting them. And then Mr. Godwin had an issue with the person, found out she actually worked with the auditing firm. He terminated that and went in front of council with that. And then this is just, and it's tiny, I know, but these are just some of the items they deleted. There's payments, there's deposits, there's invoices, there's police grants. There was almost 30 pages of items that were deleted. So then Mr. Godwin posted an RFP for a new auditor in January of 2021. And at March 10th, 2021, the council chose to hire PKS and Company as the new auditors. Due to the deleted items and other issues as far as how the deposits have been done in previous years, the auditors recommended Wigglesworth, Layton, Moyers, and Chance, which are CPAs, to help due to all the extensive work in rebuilding things. Mr. Kemp did sign off on the hiring of that company. And this is the letter that was provided to council February 21st from PKS, giving an update for the years 2020, 2021, and 2022, and said they're waiting for the third-party consultant to reconcile 20 and 21. Now we'll talk about some finances. These are the current bank account balances. Currently, there is $1,060,355.55. This is after we paid the 2 loans off, which left a balance of $368,035.88 in the realty transfer account. So there's just over $1 million in the bank as of today. 1 East Minor is going to sheriff's sale next Tuesday. We had discussed previously a possibility if the town wanted to purchase it because it hasn't sold, and this is the 3rd time we've taken it to sale. There are a couple builders interested, so council, I need an approval or recommendation if you want to purchase the property if it does not sell, or take it back to sheriff's sale again.
Every time we take it to the sheriff's sale, doesn't it cost us money?
About $2,500.
Yeah, no, I think we'll go ahead and. That's a little silly at that point. I would make a motion to go ahead and buy that back and save ourselves $2,500 a pop.
How much do they want for it?
$31,405.98 is what's owed to us. The starting bid is $24,000.
So that's like 2,500.
Yes.
Yeah.
I second the motion.
Did you say you
I
second?
second it.
Okay.
Ms. Brenda, what's your opinion?
That's fine.
You go with that?
Okay.
Mr. Donner,
I'd like to know the motion.
I make a motion to buy it back at sale, that way we're not shipping it back to the sale.
If there's nobody else there that wants to buy it. We're not going to bid against anybody.
No.
But if there's no bidders.
You said the base price is $24,000.
Correct. That's starting bid.
It would cost us $24,000.
Correct.
So like I said, you're like 2,500 to $24,000.
Well, that's not all that is. That's past taxes. That was the demolition of the house. It's a total of everything owed on the property. That wasn't just legal
What will
fees.
we do with it when we got it?
Resell it to a builder.
Why
That's,
not let the builder just buy it?
that's what we would like to do, but they're not showing up at the sales and buying it. So Mr. Sharp said he suggested the town buy it back. So, but I mean, I'm fine either way. It's up to you guys.
How many times has it been to auction now?
This will be the 3rd time.
Okay.
There's never been a bid placed on it.
And it costs $2,500 every auction.
Yes.
So we've already.
Plus $1,000 to the sheriff's department. It's actually $3,500.
So $3,500.
So we've eaten $7,000 already.
And you're getting ready to eat it again because it's going to sale next week.
So that's 10 to 5.
But if you, like I said, but it's up to you guys if you want to let it sit out there. I mean, that's up to you.
I'd rather not.
You've been done.
One thing, we're not real estate business, and I mean, if you look at the money we're trying to invest now in new police departments and all the other things we have to do, I mean, so that's just me.
Well, I mean, if we're putting $2,500, $3,500 towards nothing every time we try to get it up for sale, it's just digging us a hole. That's the way, I mean.
Days we're already sitting at 10-5 now. You said you've had builders contact you about it. They've
And
not
Mr.
showed
Sharp
up.
said he had one contact him, but he doesn't know if he's going to come to the sale or not.
Is there a reason why they're not coming to the sale? Do you know why?
The one builder told us his attorney hasn't been able to get a title search completed, so he's not going to buy it without a title search. That's one I talked to the other day. So mostly it's just been, they haven't done their homework, to be honest. I mean, but we've been calling builders, and we have one now that is interested, but he can't get his title search by Tuesday, so he's spoken with Mr. Sharp, and obviously we hope he buys it, but if not,
You said Mr. Sharp, well, obviously Mr. Sharp thinks it's a good idea to go ahead and secure the property.
this was his idea, yeah.
All right. I still stand by my motion to buy the property back. At base, if no one else buys
At
it.
base.
Mhm.
I would say that because if we can't keep spending $3,500 every time we put it to auction until we find it. we
Okay.
should figure this out.
Misty, you got anything?
What was you working? That was anything on it. We need to get some money. Who made the motion?
I made the motion, Brian seconded.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, if there's a title search, if there's a title search issue, I don't know, what will we do with it, can't do title search, you can't sell it, doesn't have title.
Well, Jamie Sharp has already done the title search when we put it up for sale the first time, and he said he also did a lien and encumbrance search.
Clear.
He said, like I said, this is his idea. So he said he recommends the town buy it. He did a lien and encumbrance search and a title search, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah. I have a question. When we get on with this,
So we have a motion, a second. Everybody voted?
Everybody voted.
Okay, so if there's no bids, Mr. Sharp has permission to buy that.
Yes.
Okay. Question. According to last month, the financial report said we had $834,816.74. But now we got $1 million.
We get money all the time.
It was money we get, normally goes to the budget to pay for that, correct?
Not always. Like the police department, they're starting to get their budgets now. I mean, their grants now, and we get some reimbursable grants. We obviously get, money all the time. But
Just had a question.
Yeah, sure.
Said 834,000, now we got $1 million, which is bad. How much is that in a month? Good.
and if you see up there the bottom of the screen, you can't see it. Now the CD's also on there. That's 142,000. I think it's been there for a while. Next thing in your packet, you have a Facebook policy that was provided as an example from another town. As you're aware, in the past, we were going to do away with the Facebook page because of the comments, staff, about the staff, disgruntled employees, whatever. It's not a personal forum for feelings. It's a community events page and notice for the residents, as you see in the policy you have in front of you. So we need to have rules in place, and these are the rules I recommend we put in place. Like I said, they were provided by another town. So during the performance plan that I was given by Mr. Wilcox, he stated that the Facebook page was my responsibility, so I would like to implement these policies, and I just was looking for any comments from council.
Where do we get the policy? What time did the policy?
Bridgeville,
I need your Bridgeville head one.
it's on their website, yep.
I thought it just time there's some kind of Friends of Bridgeville or something. It
No,
wasn't.
the town has Facebook.
Town has?
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, I looked at these and this is exactly what should not be happening. I don't even have Facebook, and this is the exact reason why I don't have Facebook. For this exact reason, from the hate speech, the bullying, I mean, that all needs to stop, and I'm in total agreement with these policies having anything to do with our town whatsoever, because that's one thing that needs to stop, and it can't be posted, so.
So is this gonna be something that we're just gonna cut comments, or are we going to block them?
No, we'll leave comments, but if they violate the rules, they'll be blocked.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if things continue, then we'll have to deal with it at that point.
But there's no need for any of that to ever happen.
No, and we'd like to keep it because we share our events. We share, the streets are closed or something like that.
Right.
So we want to keep it going, but it's just kind of gotten out of control.
Are we doing like an immediate block, or can you just like, hey,
No,
one more of these?
no, if one of these rules is violated, you're blocked.
Yeah,
At the bottom, it says anyone who violates these rules will be blocked from this page.
Do we need to make a motion on it?
Not according to Mr. Wilcox, but I still wanted your input. So,
I feel as if somebody is on any of our Facebook page, none of that should be happening, and it should be blocked, because that's no need for any of that.
I want to make a motion on that because that way it's in writing that we all approved of it.
I would second it, because we said we were gonna move forward with a different attitude toward things,
Yes.
a different way of looking at things.
Correct.
Then I think that's probably the best way to go.
I feel that.
Yes.
Then we
Yes.
run-
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm used to people calling names. Sorry.
No name calling. No name calling. What is this?
I'm calling her name.
all right. The next thing, last month in your packet, you had the blank invoice from Scott Wilcox requesting payment, and Mr. Donovan made the motion, and everybody passed. He wanted to see items on there so that we could pay the invoice. Mr. Moran did email him asking for a copy of the details. On January the 9th, he said he would email them the next day. I just got them this morning, so that's why they're not in your packet. The one you see up there was the blank one. The next one is the one that he sent The email, he had said he redacted all the charges because he was instructed by Mr. Kent because it had information pertaining to the performance plan. But as you can see, well, you could see, if you look at it, a lot of it has charges pertaining to the hiring of Mr. Walton, Chief Walton, and also drawing up a contract for Chief Walton, but we paid another attorney to draw up the contract. Mr. Moran authorized that. So I'm not sure if you guys can give me insight, like if maybe you guys know he did a contract too and I don't know about it, or...
I thought he did. Wilcox didn't do, I thought,
He started, there was a conversation between him and Marshall. Marshall was the lead on it, and we never saw anything. Well, by the time we got to that point, Marshall had resigned at that point, and we never saw it. So we had to go to the next step to get the chief.
So he's just trying to bill us for something that we didn't do.
He may have started working on it and emailed Marshall, and when Marshall got to the point where he decided that he was going to resign and never got finished.
Well,
We don't know.
I was going to say, but we don't have a physical contract.
I never saw it,
Okay.
so I can't
That's
verify.
fine.
I didn't see it, I didn't know. I thought he had drawn one up and then the chief requested that we not
Then
use
we're not-
him because of your
we're not
personal
paying him.
relationship, so we let it go.
Unless there's evidence of him actually doing it, then no.
What's that?
We're not gonna pay him. Unless there's evidence that he actually provided.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask, maybe somebody's seen it and I didn't, and, I mean, obviously Chief Walton can speak that he stated he should not be involved in it, so that's why I just wanted to clarify what we're gonna do with this invoice.
Chief, would it be too far for me to ask what the reason is why he shouldn't have been involved in the process?
There was a conflict of interest.
Okay.
He shouldn't have been representing the town once that conflict of interest was brought to light.
Okay.
And
And it did change once it was brought to light.
Okay.
It was changed.
Okay. No, that's fine. I was curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we don't have any physical body of work to show what he actually did, I would not pay you.
So you would like me to appeal this invoice for
Not paying.
Yep, I feel
I'd make a motion to appeal.
you did it.
Okay. All right, you're saying,
Second.
Second.
Sorry, yeah.
yeah, yes.
Mr. Brendan?
Yeah, if he didn't draw a contract, then, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is the town solicitor, the vote on the town solicitor situation. You guys have in your packet, we received one bid, which was Mr. Sharp. We didn't receive any other sealed bids. Stephanie Ballard did mention that if we need her, she would do it on an as-needed basis, but she does not want to bid to be town solicitor. But it's up to you guys if you would like to accept Mr. Sharp's or if you would like to rebid it or how you would like to handle it.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I wrote myself some notes. The town solicitor can't do everything. We're paying twice because he's going to another lawyer, which is Mr. Wilcox. And they're going back and forth just sending copies. And they're charging us for that. Mr. Sharp charges $3.50 an hour. Mr. Scott charges $300. Okay, so they're $6.50 per hour that we get charged. And then the conditional, he can't do a conditional use. So then you have Mr. Sharp charging $3.50 because Mr. Glenn is $500 an hour. So there's another $850 per hour. So, but Mr. Sharp wants to be copied on everything that Mr. Glenn does on conditional uses. And he charges for that every time he sends him an email.
Jamie, just correct, he can do conditional uses, but because Glenn had already started them, he said he wanted Glenn to just finish them. He didn't. But everything that Glenn sends, he has to CC Mr. Sharp on as well.
CC, we're paying them?
Every email you
Well, what
pay.
sense does that make? What
No.
are we doing here?
That-
They email each other back and forth and we're getting charged for it.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Who's Mr. Glenn?
Mandalas.
Who hired him?
Who what?
Who hired Mr.?
I did.
You did.
Well, I didn't hire him, but he stepped in. Jamie recommended him, Jamie Sharp, and that's how he ended up. And then Jamie didn't want, because he had a conflict with two of the conditional uses. So then Glenn did them, and then Glenn said, well, I'll give them back to Jamie now. And Jamie said, no, you already started them, you finish them.
So our solicitor recommended this other attorney.
Correct.
The other attorney handled it to a point to which he was going to turn it back over.
But then you're both charged.
Correct.
But the solicitor decided to let him finish. I would assume just in case there's other conflict of interest or anything along those lines.
Correct. And Stephanie recommended him. She was still here then too.
Well, he's good. He seems to be a good attorney. I've dealt with him on the planning commission a few
Yeah.
times. He seems like an upstanding guy. How long did we run that ad for?
I think it was 30 days,
Okay. How much did it cost us to run the ad?
$213.
So let me understand this. Mr. Wilcox was communicating with Mr. Sharp. Now, Mr. Wilcox is not communicating with anybody, so that $250, $300 is new, it's gone. It's not there. You or whomever said that Jamie had a conflict of interest, so he did a conflict of interest. Now he doesn't have a conflict of interest,
That's correct.
but he's still dealing with this guy because he was told to.
Jamie Sharp said, it was Jamie's recommendation, I have the email, he said, Glenn's already started it and done all the legwork, let him finish it, but he has to CC me on everything.
Right.
So yeah, that's why you're paying two lawyers.
So how much longer do you think you're gonna be paying this Glenn fella? Is that gonna come
Until all the
down?
conditional uses are done, so probably, we've still got 6 left, so.
If Jamie Sharp doesn't had an issue with 2 of them, apparently. So obviously that's only 2. And you got however many that Jamie Sharp can handle. That the Glenn fellow doesn't have to communicate with him for.
Right, but Jamie
That's
didn't,
what
but
I'm-
Jamie didn't want to come in the middle, he said, so.
Well,
Because
I don't either.
Glenn's not gonna obviously turn everything that he's done work on to him, but
So I mean, I can't see going, if Jamie Sharp can do the job and then you go with Glenn, you get, the idea of getting a solicitor is you got your solicitor. So you've got him, he's gonna do the work for you. What we're talking about here now is this guy here's gonna do some work. And when he's done, he's out of here. So I don't,
because you have a solicitor that can't do, like Scott Wilcox, I'm just gonna use him as a, for instance, he got brought in because Jamie doesn't do employment.
Right.
And then,
He's gone.
right, and then there's we have a project coming up with Derek Parker, as a matter of fact. Jamie can't handle that because he has a conflict of interest. And so there's a lot of, he can't do anything with Sussex County, he has a conflict of interest. He can't do anything, if you look at his bid, there's 4 or 5 towns, he can't do anything if there's something involved in that. So that's why you're either gonna have to have 2 people, which you'll be paying 2 because that person will CC Jamie Sharp on everything, or you're gonna have to find one solicitor that can do it all.
So,
And you can't get anybody to bid on it.
Jamie Sharp's the only one that bid. We ran it in the Delaware State News, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
Obviously, nobody wants to do it.
but I would say where Mr. Sharp's got a lot of clients down here, it would probably be in our best interest to rerun the ad one more time, but I would run it further north, more toward like Wilmington, Newark, up that way. There's a lot of law firms in Dover that might be willing to take us in. They do cover multiple avenues of like real estate law, personal defense, all that stuff. I would say if we run an ad further north, because Mr. Sharp works for a very good firm and they do a lot of work in this county, we're going to be hard pressed to find a situation where he's not going to come into a conflict at one point or another. And he does great work. But I think it would be in our best interest to rerun that ad further north, Dover, Newark, Wilmington, somewhere up that way where we can get a law firm who's going to be able to represent us. They don't have to be here all the time, obviously.
No.
But they can cover everything. That's
Is that a motion, or is
I
that
would
just,
make a motion to rerun the ad for 90 days.
So my question is, are we just gonna continue to run the ad till we get somebody so Mr. Sharp don't be our solicitor? That's what our intent is.
No, I would say
And how much more is it gonna cost you when you go to Wilmington and get a lawyer out of Wilmington that's gonna have to come from Wilmington down here?
We don't know until we figure it out, that's
I
the
mean,
thing.
that's not gonna be free either.
they got to come off. They're going to put the bid in. So
But it may be a lot cheaper than paying 2 lawyers instead of just 1.
But you're only gonna, correct me if I'm wrong, you're only gonna pay 2 lawyers for a short period of time, not
unless
years.
another conflict of interest comes up, because he represents Ellendale, he represents the county itself, he represents Milford, he represents a lot of
That
different
seems to be-
towns. And what if we come into conflict with one of those towns, like, what are we
Be
gonna
honest,
do?
let's come to conflict with Ellendale.
Slim to none, but you never know.
We got we do have two conflicts now, I don't know.
Slim to none, but you never know. I'm just trying to cover our bases, I mean.
But you said the cost of it for a month is what, you said 250,
213
213
for the last ad.
for a month?
And you've already run it to state news?
Mhm.
That's upstate.
We can do it like.
My worry is, just like you were saying, that if, yes, we only have two conflicts of interest right now, but just because something else comes up doesn't mean there might not be another one, even if it isn't Ellendale. The fact of the matter is that it could possibly come up. And I guess the same thing is the case if you get something up north too.
You said Ms. Ballard offered to help us along.
Only on an as-needed hourly basis. She's not interested in being
And she's
solicitor.
$75 an hour cheaper.
But she's only.
She can do everything.
Okay, so the question would be, if we cut Mr. Sharp on as solicitor, and then if a conflict comes up, we have Ms. Ballard to take that
As an as-needed.
as an as-needed attorney.
And you'd have to clarify with Mr. Sharp that she doesn't have to CC him on everything, or you're right back to
Like,
me.
she gets carte blanche. If he can't handle it, she does. There's no CCing, no any of that. It's her show. Then we wouldn't have to double charge. We wouldn't have to run another ad. We wouldn't have to do any of that. We could keep Mr. Sharp and have a second attorney on hand in case he can't handle it.
So are you rescinding your motion?
Yes, for right now.
Okay.
I would think as long as she is okay with that, because that would make the most sense. Because we can't keep paying two attorneys an outrageous amount of money for, because they,
Well, keep in mind, he's $75 an hour higher.
yeah.
Yeah, but she's not willing to take it on full
That's
time,
the
and
biggest
if
thing.
he was the only bidder, then we're kinda at a spot.
But she wouldn't be taking on full time, it's only as needed.
It would be as needed, correct.
And that should be him, but he comes to these meetings, every meeting, on his own.
But he doesn't
Is he
have
here?
to be here at every meeting. He's not here tonight. so-
He's not here. He wasn't here last meeting. He only comes if you need him.
I wasn't here last meeting, I was in the hospital, so.
I mean, we go with Mr. Sharp and use this as, what's her name, as needed.
So what was the motion?
Make a motion that we get Mr. Sharp,
As solicitor?
as solicitor, and Mrs., what's her name, as needed.
Mrs. Ballard.
Now, are you going to continue to, if Mrs. Bauer does something, she needs to CC Mr. Sharp as well?
No,
No,
So that's going to be part of Mr. Sharp's agreement?
yeah.
yes.
And he will be the primary solicitor, right? He will be used for anything that he can be used for.
Correct.
Other than the conditional uses that are already in motion that he doesn't want to
Right.
do? Is there a second?
Second.
Now, if an employment issue comes up, just so we're clear, Mr. Wilcox is not going to be used any further?
Correct.
I don't know if I make that.
And that would have to be Ms. Ballard, right?
Employment or
Mr. Sharp can't do
employment or
anything.
police, she does, yes, but that's, this is something you have to figure out, that's why I'm asking. So who would do employment if something employment comes up?
We need to deal with that when it comes up. My, you know.
That might be a last minute thing.
We've never had to use it before.
Yeah, I don't see that as a concern right now. That would be something that would have to be addressed at the time. Obviously, but hopefully it doesn't have to come up. I think that's, I don't wanna pay a lawyer if we don't have to, I mean.
That's all I have. Back to you.
I have a question. You have on here streaming of meetings. Are we discussing that? Or
I've reached out to Sussex County. They stream their meetings on their website, so they're going to try to tell us how we can do that too. But the guy hasn't came yet, so it's just something we're thinking about. Instead of just having them on Facebook, and that way they'd be archived, and if somebody wants to go back and watch them.
Okay, I guess, we are now in the old business. The only thing we have on here is discussion schedule of fees.
I'm not in favor of raising fees.
I would suggest we workshop that. I don't wanna raise fees on townspeople, but we've had a lot of proposed new projects, like large projects come along, and that might be something worth discussing at a workshop.
I think a workshop would be the best option.
I will make a motion to schedule a workshop to discuss town fees for sometime in March. We do it you think about the first Wednesday in March, because the meeting is the second Wednesday.
That's our meeting.
Well,
Second Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
Huh?
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
Third Wednesday.
Because they do the same second.
He said second Wednesday.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be March 19th. You want to do it after the next meeting or before?
I would think. Go ahead, Mayor.
No, we're all the same people here. I would say right after.
I think that's fair. It gives us a little time to sit back and.
So March the 19th,
Yes.
and you want it held at Town Hall or VFW?
I think town hall would be best.
Yeah, maybe holds more people. The
The
VFW.
VFW.
You got a second on it?
Second.
Thought you made the motion.
I second.
Thought you seconded, okay.
Yes.
Yes. All in favor?
Yes. Yes. All in favor?
Yes.
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 All in favor. Okay. Now we're moving to new business. Removal of Anthony Massey from the Planning Commission.
My attempt at a resignation, I do hereby resign from the planning commission, and I'll print my name so people could actually see it.
We didn't see you sign
Do you need a motion on that, Jen?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to remove Ms. Grant.
it. I second. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Appointment of Ellen Patterson to the Planning Commission.
So move.
Second.
All in favor? Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Appointment of Dale Peterson to the Board of Adjustments.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, topic number 4, discussion of the Greenwood Ball Field.
Is anybody here from the ball field tonight?
I don't see anybody.
Ms. Todd, what do you have on this?
In your package, you have the agreements for 2025. When we advertised it on December 31st. The Ducks sent their signed agreement back January 1st with the same conditions as last year, which is the agreement that council had approved. The Little League turned their agreement in on January 28th, and you'll see there's a letter in your packet which was attached to that requesting additional time on the field. If you want to approve the additional time, we have to draw up a new agreement. Council will vote on it, and it has to be signed.
I make a motion, we leave it as it is, because if not, we're gonna be changing it every year we turn around.
Is there any particular reason he gave for needing the schedule change?
No, I didn't talk, he just handed that in, so.
Okay. I mean, they made it work last year, and the kids had all access to it, everything went fine. I don't see where we can need to change anything.
Yeah, I don't see it. But if it worked fine last year, there's no need to switch it up.
That's my feeling.
If they can communicate with each other, that would be the best option. There's no need to push it farther than we need to do.
Ms. Brenda, what do you think?
Whatever works.
I mean, it worked.
If it works, it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
We don't need to be sure if it's working, that's how I feel
So who made the motion? Dee?
about it. I did. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Isn't there something in there about a possible all-star goods that they were talking about?
It's on Mr. Heyman's letter that you have.
Does that have anything to do with what we're getting ready to vote on?
I would like to think he and Mr. Uber could work that out, but I don't know. If you want it specifically written into the agreement, it's up to you guys.
You got a comment?
Well, as the point of contact all last year for the Little League, between the Little League and the Ducks, it did work well. I was emailed on everything they transpired. Yes, our girls went all the way to the World Series. They went all the way to Connecticut, which was a great accomplishment, which is the second or third time in Woodbridge history, which is great. They are wanting to have All-Stars here, which would run July 1st through July 15th. So that field would need to be available for those girls to do it, which I'm assuming if they reach out to Tim, he would graciously say, okay, no problem.
Right.
But you have to have that dialogue, somebody from that table with the Little League and the Ducks. So if there a problem does arise, then you step in and fix it without no questions asked. The Little League has it in the beginning, they worked out well. If the Ducks needed to use it, they reached out to the Little League. The Little League said they had nothing going on, the Ducks were able to do it. Vice versa, the Little League reached out to them if they needed to use it. There was no issue. There were some other teams that wanted to use it on the weekend. I gave them the individual's numbers. They reached out to them. They were allowed to use it. The system worked great. As long as you keep that same dialogue, there will be no issue. But the main thing is for that field, for that Little League to be functioning, operational, and those girls play over there. That is the name of the game.
Right, and from the contract that they had, you know, the control was one who's supposed to maintain the field itself.
They maintain it, the town's responsibility to cut all the grass around it and police all the trash and everything on the outside. They're supposed to maintain it all,
Right.
but on the inside of the fence, we're responsible for everything on the outside.
All the common areas.
The contract,
Correct.
right.
I mean, weeds, grass, everything out there.
Does it have to be a council person, or can you still do
That's
that?
up to you guys. That's
Being
entirely
you've
up to
been the
you.
point of contact and have straightened it out, I don't have a problem with you keeping it up.
I mean, that's entirely up to you. I mean, I didn't have to do anything. I mean, they just CC'd me on their text messages, so if there was a problem, we were able to fix it. I still have to try to schedule a meeting to see what they want to see in some upgrades. I mean, I was talking to Ms. Todd about stuff, and she was working on Walmart, had some grants that we were working on to try to put in there to get maybe bleachers and whatever else may need to be over there that's not there now. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. That place hasn't been upgraded since my father-in-law was gone. My young is 18, so at least 10 years. The fence needs to be repaired. There's a lot of things that need to be done, but I believe between the Ducks and the Little League and the town, we can go through and see what needs to be done and get it back the way it used to be.
And you would be willing to still keep your correspondence with that?
That is totally fun, and that way we can keep things in a positive manner and keep things moving.
When you go to have that meeting, let me know. I'd like to be in on that, just so I gotta kid in the league too, so I'll, you know what I mean? So. Yeah, I said we keep the same contract we had last time, and then we'll address things as they come. So. The motion will keep the same contract, and address it as it comes.
So it'll be the same March through June 30th, the Little League, Monday through Friday, the Ducks Saturday and Sunday, T-ball, Little League can use 365 days a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's her call, I mean, that's changing something, that's Janet's call, not ours. Unless we were gonna change the contract, then we would have to do that, Janet. Been doing it all along.
Actually, Mr. Uber and Mr. Heyman have been doing it. They've been corresponding with each other, and I talked to Mr. Uber and I said, "Can you guys just keep doing your thing?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Chris and I just call each other if we need an extra day or if we don't need something." And
No, I guess we're good staying out of it.
so yeah, the more we stay out of it, I think the better off we are myself.
I think you're right.
Work. All right, number 5, discussion of policy procedures and possible amendments.
So in your packet, you guys have your policy and procedures, and you have items that have a discrepancy or don't match up. So you guys will have to make some decisions as to how you would like to correct those items.
So the first thing I saw was moving the comment section to the beginning, which I think is the best thing that we could do. But I guess the issue is that in order to do that, we cannot have a set agenda setting.
Order, yeah.
Agenda order.
Correct.
And if we have an agenda order, we're no longer allowed to move things from the top to the bottom.
Right. Like on page 2, it says the order has to be this. So,
Which would be that the comments could not be at the top.
right.
So that would mean we have to make it to where there is no specific agenda order.
Or we could just change the wording to say, the order at each regular meeting shall be as follows, and then just put, and this is something we can do, not an attorney, some kind of a language unless, I don't know, some kind of wordage that unless you want to change something. Or you can just say you're going to do away with the order of business. It's up to you.
I don't see the downfall of saying just doing away with the order of business, but just keep the order of business that the way it is, except move the comment section to the top so we can hear what the community has to say ahead of time, and that being an issue.
Right. And there have been times in the past, the council wanted it at the beginning. Sometimes they said, no, we need it at the end. We have other, so.
By saying no order of business, that means we just do it whenever.
Yeah, you guys can decide. You can say, hey, we've got some stuff on this agenda. We want to hear the public first. But it's up to you.
Well, I motion to remove the order of business.
Second.
All in favor?
Who's there?
Yes.
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 Yes, all. I guess page 3 for the starting of the meeting is 6 o'clock. As you can tell, the meeting today was 6:30. I'd like to move that to 6:30.
Well, there's already a resolution passed by council. It should be in your packet there, saying that meetings are supposed to start at 6:30, but then this says 6 o'clock. So do you want to stick with the past resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor of that?
Yeah, 6:30.
6:30?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the rule 6. Attendee states the minutes are taken, prepared, and presented by the town manager. Carolyn takes the minutes and prepares them for council presentation. So that's where the issue comes in.
And I would like to stick with Carolyn handling those, and she's fine with that.
Handling the minutes.
Yes, Mhm.
She's good with that?
absolutely.
Okay. We can stick with the way that it is.
That's your motion, Brandon?
Motion is made with
Okay.
the way that it states intended.
Second.
I got, are we just doing those couple that you mentioned? 'Cause I've got
We got a DVD on.
Rule 21 Standards of Conduct. There's 2 of them here, A and B. Persons attending council meetings shall observe appropriate dress standards and standards of conduct. Attire that may distract from the proceedings shall not be permitted. Now, as we all know, I've showed up here dressed like a clown before, but I didn't bother anybody, and I didn't say anything, and I didn't go after anybody personally during the meetings. First Amendment says you can protest quietly. But if we're going into code of conduct for appropriate dress standards, who sets those standards and who decides what is appropriate dress?
We do.
By what metric?
If somebody comes in here, you know, it's pretty obvious. Somebody comes in here with decent clothes is one thing. If somebody comes in here with their underwear on,
That's fair. That's public indecency.
not necessarily.
If you see me in my underwear, that shit is indecent. I'm telling you, dog, it's indecent. But like, as long as we don't go overboard with that, that's not an issue. But the other one here, the person wear by 3 inches by 5 inches, that's an index card. Again, that's a First Amendment thing. That's a silent protest. You can sit in the back of that room, because I've done it, or a 4 foot by 4 foot sign and not say a word.
But you think that's necessary?
It's not a matter if it's necessary or not, your right as a US citizen. It's a grounds for a lawsuit, honestly. And we don't wanna pay lawyers. Like, I'll capitulate on the appropriate address, but the sign thing, that leads to a lawsuit. Personal opinion, we can try it if you want, I'm just saying.
And how many people come into meetings with the sign?
Just me. Just me.
And now you're on council.
And now I'm on council.
So hopefully nobody will continue to do that.
If they do, I will gladly look at their sign just like they look at mine. Because you have to. It's their First Amendment. You have to.
Again, how many people have walked into council meetings with the sign?
So are we gonna kick them out if they show up with a sign and risk a lawsuit?
No, did we kick you out? And that was on the floor?
But no, this was put in after.
How?
It's because I showed them the sign.
I don't think that was the intent.
Well, I realize, but it was put in after, and it's an issue.
It was put in prior to you walking in your sign and your hat and your other stuff. Cause this has been, this has been here for a while.
Well, this
We
was-
did that last year.
This was new, so. Can we at least address that?
If you'd like to address it, that's fine. I don't think, I understand what you're saying. You have the right to protest, you have the right to speak, but at some point, it becomes too much.
Agreed.
And it's really figuring out the limit between too much and showing something. And an index card, I think, is big enough to show what you're trying to say and get across.
Right.
They're big, bright, and pink, and whatever, so it's vibrant. You can stick it on your forehead. You keep it the same size as the index card.
So what if we give them a sheet of notebook paper? That's bigger than an index.
I mean, what are we arguing about here? It's the same thing.
3 inches by 5 inches, man.
You're still getting your point across.
I understand, but.
You're still getting your point across whether it's an index card or whether it's an index card. I know, but I think it should be separate.
Then we will deal with it when it comes.
Then we can deal with it when it comes, but I think an index card is just big enough to get your point across. You don't need a piece of paper. It gets the same point across. It gets the same point across. If I have a big piece of paper or a little tiny piece of paper, it's gonna say the same thing.
Then I will take your advice, we'll deal with it when it comes. Okay, let's just do it. Let's move on.
Alright.
You're good, Don.
You're mental.
You don't need to, man. I thought it was worth bringing up.
I lost my spot.
Alright. You said you were good.
I'm good. We're good.
Okay, everything else is good?
Well, yeah. Well, let me see. I'm just trying. I think everything else is good with us. We moved the time.
Correct.
Anybody else have anything? Did you?
You still got a few more on the paper.
Well, I mean.
Page 9, Rule 20B,
yeah,
requiring the resumes.
The Mason's Manual of Legislation Procedures.
Yeah.
I would-
We'll just take that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next one down, we don't require resumes unless you want to.
I don't think we would need the resume for the Board of Adjustments. Would you want a resume? No. You haven't said much already.
I'm being good.
Good job.
So that's your motion to do away with the
Do
resume.
away
All
with
right,
that,
so
yeah.
there's a second on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Was that aye? You still laughing over there?
That's good, man. That's good.
Page 11, letter I states a public comment session is specified time prior to the start of the official council meeting. So page 2 states public comment is at the end.
I think what we just already voted on, we're going to fix that.
Do all that,
Yep.
so it doesn't matter. And then it says public comment is 3 minutes. The percentage time, what is the determination, and whose time can be extended? So it starts off as 3 minutes and says we can extend the time. What determines who gets the time extended and how long can we extend it?
I'm gonna keep it at 3 minutes.
I think we should just do it 3 minutes. Because the biggest thing is if you guys have a comment, once again, you guys can let us all know your comments before the meetings. You don't have to come out in public and let us know. You can just, you guys put it on Facebook anyway. Just email all of us so we can see your comments ahead of time.
You want to contact Ms. Todd and with like immediate stuff, and then if that doesn't come to, you know what I
The
mean?
first person that we talk about, but 3
Right.
minutes I think gives plenty of time.
Alright.
And we just keep it at 3 minutes and we don't need extensions.
All right, so I'll make those changes and bring it back to council next time.
And then one thing that's not on here, with the comment section being first, if it changes any of our decisions to, on any of our voting on the agenda, obviously we just push it back to the next meeting, only one time. Does that make sense?
No.
So, we wanted to make a decision, and if somebody did make a comment ahead of time, which sways any of our decision on any of the agenda meetings, any of our proposed agenda, so we need more time to think about it, we actually push that back to the next meeting. But it only gets pushed back once.
If we were voting on something that night, and someone were to have a comment that affected, I'm not saying you would say it out loud, but
Right.
affected the way you were gonna vote, like they gave you some new information, or they gave you a new perspective, then you could ask for it to be tabled to the next
To the
meeting.
next
Yeah, you always
But
have that
only
option.
happens, but that only happens once.
No, we can't limit tables. Can't limit it. You just can't.
The problem is that it's
Only gonna have one table.
Well, if you keep pushing if you keep pushing it farther and farther back, it means it's done.
Well, the thing you got too is somebody's got a comment on something you're gonna do, they comment on it, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to follow their comment. You just listen to what they have to say, you're still gonna vote.
You know, the comments, I listen to what everybody else says.
Yeah, but I mean, if she if young lady here comments on something, and it's gonna sway your vote, and it should sway your vote that night, you shouldn't have to go back, table it to go back to whatever. That's just my opinion.
We'll just do-
Just, you know.
Forget I said it.
Let me get another legal issue.
We got enough, obviously. It looks like, any council members' comments?
Wow. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir.
I think that adjourns our meeting. No, council members' comments.